Welcome.
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 Welcome. Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to the Gruppetto.
Welcome to a new series of the Gruppetto. Our first guest of 2025 is Ben O'Connor. Before we get to the Australian star, though, we've got quite a bit to catch up on. The new season is underway, and in Europe, a collection of 5 back-to-back one-day races right here on the Mediterranean island of Mallorca, Spain, was the curtain-raising event. UAE Emirates XRG, that's their full name now, picked up where they left off as the top team. But it isn't yet all about Pog. Jan Christen took arguably the biggest win of his short career to date, making the move to the front at the crucial moment, and then showing his Swiss timing was perfect to down his rivals after a mountainous route at the end of Trofeo Calvià. After a flatter day, Marijn van den Berg won Trofeo Salinas for the second time in 3 years. A messy headwind sprint was finished off well, with the likes of Girmay, Gaviria and Turgis defeated. EF Education Easy Post men's squad opening their 2025 account on an island that often brings them success. So far, so good for the bunch in Spain. However, the weather was about to change, and with it, the sentiment. Despite crashes in the cold and wet on a couple of the descents from the Tramontana mountain range, a strong group was together 3 kilometres from the finish. Florian Stork then attacked, and he would have been delighted that the rest couldn't follow. 3¼ hours they've been in the saddle. It's one final big effort now. He can see the finish line up ahead. 100 metres to go. He turns around, and this is Florian Stork's moment to savour. Stork knows he's done it. Finally a pro bike race winner in his beloved Mallorca. Following the joy of a first ever pro win, there was despair and disappointment on the road, with Saturday's Trofeo Andrach Pollença abandoned just over 20 kilometres in. The Riders' Union deciding that the parkour was too dangerous given the adverse weather conditions. There were plenty of crashes in those opening 20 Ks.
On the first 20 kilometers there was in every corner one rider lying on the ground, so on the end we decided as a peloton that we stop the race and to be safe.
The last event in Palma saw racing return. Usually a nailed-on sprint opportunity. It looked to be that way again until the very final corner of the city centre circuit. That's when Yuri Leitão saw his chance. With lead-out men looking for their lost sprinters, the Portuguese Olympic track champion committed, holding off the entire peloton to the finish and taking his team's first win of the brand new season. There were also 3 days of racing on the Balearic Island for the women's peloton. And at the first race, a bunch sprint ended with delight for EF Education Oatly. On the back of a training camp on the island, Lotta Hentala beating Consonni and Coles Leicester to the line. The first of the 3 Mallorcan trophies was decided. Next, all eyes were on the home favourite Mavi Garcia. The Palma native had to put up with a second place though on the day of trophy number 2. Beaten with the finish line in sight by Marlene Reusser, the now Movistar rider. The Swiss has endured a hard 12 months with injury and illness, so her 25th career win was without doubt one of the most satisfying. On the back of that, another day saw another return to form.
It's still steep up towards the finish. 100 meters to go now for Talita de Jong, and she is going to kickstart her 2025 campaign with a huge win here in Mallorca. Talita de Jong takes it.
Before all that, the UCI Women's World Tour began with the Tour Down Under. The season starting with a shock too. Perhaps the sprinters and their teams were still in hibernation, but little did that matter to Daniek Hinkerveld. At the end of the run from Brighton to Snapper Point, the breakaway took the win. It was the Ceratizit WNT rider's first success in 4 long years. On the second day of the 3-stage race, Noemi Rüg put in a perfectly timed attack on the final ascent of the famous Willunga Hill.
The Queen of Willunga Hill is going to be the Swiss national champion, and she is going to open this year's account for the EF Oatly Cannondale team. In incredible fashion, Noemi Rugg takes the stage.
Clinching the stage win and taking the overall GC lead, she finished ahead of Silke Smulders. Canyon SRAM Zon the Crypto's first victory of 2025 arrived on the final circuit around Stirling, with just over 100 kilometres ridden before Chloe Dygert took the win. EF Education Oatly's Rugg hung on resiliently to claim the general classification prize. The 23-year-old Swiss ending the race 13 seconds in front of Lille AlUla Jayco rider Smulders, with Mia Bjørndal Otterstad of UnoX Mobility at just over half a minute back in third. Hot on the heels of the Women's World Tour start, the beginning of the men's season saw a sprint finish. Home favourite and recently crowned Australian Criterium champion Sam Welsford denied teenager Matthew Brennan what would have been a dream start to professional life. Fellow Briton Matt Walls also returned to form, finishing third. Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe opening their account for what promises to be a very big 2025. For the second season running, Welsford began the second stage in the leader's ochre jersey. And that's how he'd end it, dressed up in gala robes on the podium again after a second successive win. That despite his lead-out man Danny van Poppel picking up the World Tour's first yellow card of the new season. A first of a different kind was the story for day 3, a maiden professional victory for Javier Romo. Movistar taking their first World Tour win of the year, and they'll be hoping to add to that number this season, something they failed to do last year. There's something about the Tour Down Under and Brian Cocard. He won stage 4, and with it valuable UCI points for Cofidis. They're still hoping to avoid the drop. Jonathan Narvaez picked up bonus seconds in that finish though, and he closed the gap on the overall leader, who was still Romo. Elsewhere, Red Bull Bora suffered a second yellow of the week. Lawrence Pithy relegated and put into the commissaire's notebook. The setting for the major GC shake-up was Willunga Hill, a South Australian cycling classic. As it often does, aggressive, attacking riding characterised the stage, but keeping his cool and speed all the way to the end was Ecuadorian Narvaez, starting life well at his new team and securing his maiden World Tour General Classification prize. That's because on the final day there were no changes. A third win of the week for Sam Welsford, cementing his status as Sprint King in the opening race of the year for the second season running. To Saudi Arabia now, where the AlUla Tour saw Tom Pidcock enjoy a dream start to life at Q36.5. The British rider was the main focus of much of the winter transfer drama, leaving Ineos Grenadiers for pastures new in Switzerland. Both he and Soudal-QuickStep's Tim Merlier won 2 stages each in the opening 4 days.
Tom Pidcock is going to win the Queen's Stage on top of the sky views of Harrit Euro. We haven't seen this since Maxim van Hils did it the first time up here.
Pidcock's teammate, the Italian sprinter Matteo Moschetti, notched his own first success of the season in one of the fastest road finishes you are ever likely to see. In the final kilometre, the average speed was over 80 kilometres per hour as he was the first to the line on the 5th and final stage, with Pidcock crowned GC King in the desert. And finally, the French season began with a win from a Frenchman. Valentin Ferron was his name. The 26-year-old left Total Energy to sign for Cofidis during the winter months, and he was the best of a group of just over 30 at the finish of Grand Prix Cycliste de Marseille, winning for the first time in 18 months. Not a bad collection of opening races. Plenty more coming up where that came from. Not a bad collection of opening races, eh? But this is only episode 1 and we are just getting started. Please like, share and subscribe to the Eurosport Cycling YouTube channel to see all of the previews, reviews, in-depth analysis and the interviews we'll bring you on the Gruppetto throughout the season. And talking of the season, this is what's coming up.
There is Mark Cavendish through the centre. This is his Cavendish. Now it's Mark Cavendish and the greatest of all time.
Welcome.
To the home of cycling. Get to know the fastest riders in the world.
Oh, Billy has done it! Billy! Here comes Lotte Kopecky. Yet again, it's the fastest ever Paris-Roubaix.
It's all about the Grand Tours.
Tadej Pogacar off in search of one final piece of glory. And look at that! What a story that is! Tadej Pogacar simply takes control.
Kasia Niewiadoma saves the yellow jersey.
Are we watching the coronation of King Roglic?
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to the home of cycling.
Across our platforms this week, we'll be showing you World Tour racing from UAE Tour Women. The men's peloton will be split between France, Étoile de Bessèges, and Spain at the Tour of Valencia. I'll be commentating on that with Adam Blythe, and you'll be able to see our next guest involved. It's Ben O'Connor. He's moved across to his home Australian team, Jayco AlUla, for this season, and we spoke to him before it all got underway.
Fourth at the Giro, second at the Vuelta, second at the Worlds. What way to end your time at Decathlon?
It was a special year, right? Like I had success the whole way throughout the year. I had some memorable moments and some big firsts, right? Like winning the stage of Vuelta and then being in the red jersey was for sure the biggest highlight. But I mean, I also won some other races in the year and was just good the whole season. And that's something that's rare to get right, and it's hard to get right, and something I'll definitely cherish.
Fabulous performance by this man. Round the last couple of bends here. Kapow! Ben O'Connor brings it in. What a day for that man.
It was the icing on the cake. It was ending a period of my life with the team, which really did help me, right? I joined the team being maybe not a nobody, but I was nowhere near the rider that I am now, and I developed into a very different person over those 4 years, and it's pretty cool, right? Like, I mean, I've been top 5 or top 4, let's say, in every Grand Tour, and with that team, with as you said, Citroën and Decathlon, so it was cool to see such a progress, and now you find yourself in this scenario with Jayco where you just have to do it all again.
And why Jayco AlUla?
Australian team, heart, spirit, easy communication, and also friendship. I have friends on this team. I have people I trust, and I also wanted to always have my own pathway. You know, I really like to still go about races, trying to achieve the best that I can out of myself, and I have that chance here at Jayco AlUla to tackle each race as I wish and go about my business, and that's one of the main reasons why I'm here.
And you had your best finish at the Tour de France in 2021, 4 years on. Do you think you can make that step up onto the podium? And is that your goal this year?
I hope one day to be able to do that. You know, it's always a dream, and it was a dream to be on a Grand Tour podium, and I found that in Madrid, and it's now, you know, one of the next big things would be able to do that at the Tour or the Giro, but really, the Tour is the Tour, right? The Tour de France takes the king's seat, and it's always the eye of the world, at least in cycling terms. So that would be my long-term objective, and something that this team with Jayco AlUla they back fully, and something that we're going to try and do. You can't do everything, but it's something that I hope to accomplish one day.
How are you feeling? Are you feeling ready to, you know, start winning from the get-go?
I want to make sure that I'm good the whole way throughout the year. It's definitely not like a eggs all in one basket scenario. So starting off, I want to hit the ground running, and I loved doing that last year. I think I won my first race, so that'd be ideal again this year.
As well as Ben O'Connor, if you tune into the Tour of Valencia next week, you'll be able to see the likes of McNulty, Almeida, Hindley, Vlasov, Bilbao, Milan, and many more. The first stage is live across our platforms at 2:30 GMT. Adam Blythe in the commentary box with me for that one. Now, a few other dates to add to your diary. We move into spring, and that means spring classics. Opening weekend gets that campaign kicked off, and the breakaway will be back. Remember, that is the 1st of March for that one. The final cobbled classics fill a whole weekend. That's the women's and men's Paris-Roubaix, and you're talking the 12th and 13th of April. The month of July is all about the Tour de France. Hot on the heels of that, the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift, yet into another Grand Tour, and then it'll be the World Championships as well. All live for you on the home of cycling. Well, they're all exciting dates, but let's slow down and enjoy the journey for now, shall we? Valencia, starting on Wednesday the 5th of February. That is at 2:30 GMT across our platforms. We'll see you next Monday to go through all of that action and everything else happening on the road this week. Before then, though, we couldn't leave you without a thought to the now record equaler, Mr. Mathieu van der Poel. Very much in Wout van Aert style. A hat tip to him, a 7th title. And the mighty Erik de Vlaming now has company. It only took a few decades, but then again, in 12 months' time, who'd back against an 8th title, eh? Goodbye for now.